Hello, students. This is Mr. Belay, and I'm here to go over the art component to your Lewis and Clark Expedition map making project. Before we even get into it, I just find it fascinating at this time in history. The country made this big Louisiana Purchase. We have all this extra land that we never had before, and now we need to figure out how are we going to get across it. Lewis and Clark and this Corpse of Discovery, it's made up of like civilians and army people. They're going across 7,000 miles of uncharted land. We can't even imagine that now, like just going into the like unknown to figure out a way to get across our country. So I just think this is just really crazy and cool, unique time in the world here. So yeah, making this map I think is a really a good art project to pair up with social studies. So yeah, let's get into the project here. So in your book, they already have it mapped out. They show the route that this group of people with Lewis and Clark leading take to get across the country. What you're going to want to do is be a cartographer, a map maker, and really map that out across that like old antique looking paper that I provided for you. Now you can just free draw this. You can draw it by hand, just look at the pictures, like the photocopies that I made, and just go freehand. But I do want to provide you with light boards so that if you want to trace, no shame in that, trace it over. And that's actually what I did for this project. So you can see in this picture up here, I started out with just following the route. I got the light board underneath, I got the photocopy of the map from the book on there, and I'm just tracing over the route that Lewis and Clark made. Now, it does get a little squirrely at this part where then Lewis goes one way, Clark goes another. They try to cover more ground and then they meet back up. The lines get a little crazy there, but just try your best to trace over them. I mean, they're exploring. They're just figuring out, where they're going there. So it's not like a clean, highway route that we're used to. But that would be the first step. It's just going over the route there. Then I would number those things out. There's 8 significant points that are on the map legend, from your textbook. Now, you don't have to trace over the number exactly, but you want to get those numbers in the right places. So I would do that, while you got the light board and you're tracing it over. So the next step would be to actually put the headings for those 8 numbers. You don't need to trace. You're not tracing this part. You're looking back in that map legend from the textbook, and you're just labeling it out. Each step that they put into that textbook there. So that's what I did next. Oh yeah, I did add a compass rose on there. It's good to get a sense of direction. Like, wait, they're going from the east, they're traveling to the west. So yeah, putting a compass rose is, I think, a useful part of it. Once you got, the route laid out, you got the headings, across the route there. Now you need to choose one of those 8 to focus on. Think of like, well, what do you think was interesting out of any of those 8? Maybe think about what you're willing to draw. And you're going to want to put a more detailed drawing on this like bottom section of the map. And you're going to want to write about it too. So again, for this one, I did tracing. So I chose Fort Mandan as the one that I want to do for an example. That's an actual photo of the fort there. I'm guessing that the fort has been up since they built it, and then somebody later on with a camera, once photography was invented, got a picture of it there. So I had to kind of carefully go over that in pen. I wasn't trying to trace it exactly. This is a drawing, so I'm just trying to capture like the feeling, like what's going on there. That fort looks like it's cut from trees, made into logs, and stuck in the ground. And so, I try to put little texture on the edges there because that's just a pointy log sticking out. Try to capture some of the shadows, and all the little logs all put together, the little textures along there. I couldn't tell what those white spots were, but then I figured that they must be chimneys, especially because they built this fort to survive through the winter. So you're going to want to be lighting fires and, need some chimneys there. But traced it all over, took out the light board and then just kind of finished it up with like, little extra touches and stuff like the flag I put in there and stuff. But there you go. So I got Fort Mandan. That was my focus. on the bottom of the map there. Then it was time to start writing just a couple sentences. Why do you think that part was important? So I'll read you the one that I wrote. I said, not hey, sorry. I said, I think Fort Mandan was important to this expedition for a couple of reasons. The fort itself gave the corps a safe place to stay for the winter. Without that, winter could have been deadly. But while at this fort, Lewis and Clark also had Sacagawea and Charbonneau, not sure how to pronounce that French name, joined the corps, and they continued with them on their journey. And without the help of these two, it would have been harder traveling in unknown territory and to communicate with those other Native Americans, the Shoshones. Sacagawea was their interpreter. So for me, I think that one particular spot, number 4, Fort Mandan, that's really important. If they didn't build that fort, they may have died, trying to survive out in the elements, and they would have never met, the interpreter Sacagawea and the other, the French trapper there, to help them get across the country. So, students, I wish you the best of luck in your map making. Free draw, use the light board, use the handouts that I provided, and be a cartographer and map this out. So I'm excited. Good luck, everybody. I definitely want to see the results of these when they're done. And there you go, my friends. Good luck. Bye bye.